Good morning, folks. GMGM. Welcome to another episode of Fomo Hour. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. It is a bit of a cold, gray day here in Chicago. It's been quite like this all winter so long, but folks, it is not a cold, gray day for crypto. In fact, quite the opposite. We've got President Trump coming in, delivering on his campaign promises, endorsing his meme coin. And today, it looks like we're set for a $600 million stimulus here from Jupiter in about 20 minutes. So today, it is a good day. We're going to break it all down on today's show. No Farouk, he is out sick this morning, but I've got Mando here. You may not know this. He is the world's most prominent radium influencer. Mando.
I'm the only radium influencer, and I'm now the most prominent. It's been quite the week for me, having looked at radium around this time last week, and then now look at me on top of the world.
Radium, folks, if you missed us, Radium retweeted Mando's pitch for Ray in the last day or so. So we got the old protocol level retweet. You love to see it. And Radium doing well.
Sponsored by Radium, by the way. Somebody came at me yesterday and was like, I hope you're not sponsored by them and you're posting about this. I was like, it's so ironic that I put out a thesis-driven trade about Radium and people are in my DMs being like, you're a crook. Whereas if somebody else just tweets out a meme, it's like, or a paid shill for a meme, it's like, oh, that's fair game. But the moment somebody tries to actually be like, okay, this is something interesting to look at, it's like, you're getting paid, man. Somebody's paying you to have a brain here. There's no way.
Everyone keeps their pitchforks within 1 foot of them at all times if they're on crypto Twitter. And the second someone talks about a token that they don't have a large bag of, they're ready to jab that pitchfork at them.
Exactly. It's like, and Radium. Like, I don't think anyone's mentioned Radium to me in like 6 months. It's not like they're sponsoring streams or anything. But yeah, pretty funny.
It's the state of the market in January 2025. Folks, what are we talking about today? Crypto majors are green, Sol leading the way. We've got Trump delivering on crypto promises. He's freeing Ross. We've got the SEC setting up a crypto task force headed up by Hester Pierce. The AI sector, folks, on Monday, I'll admit, I wasn't sure how fast the rebound would be. It looks like it was quite swift. AI is back, and then we've got this Jupiter stimulus landing here live during the show in 20 minutes. We will probably keep it a tighter show for you here this morning. We've been doing some lengthy streams to start the week. But before we dive in, we got to give a shout out to our partners, starting with Galaxis. Galaxis is a Web3 platform empowering creators and brands to build unstoppable communities with full ownership and independence. They are trusted by icons like Donald Trump, Steve Aoki, Mike Tyson, and the NBA, shaping together the future of engagement. And also, folks, every day we see people's wallets get drained. Fairside is about to launch the fair alternative to insurance for crypto scams. Check out @Fairside Network on X. If you get drained, you won't be wrecked. All right, we love our partners. Thank you for powering our show. With that, Mando, if you're ready, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
So, guys, we did have a slightly better day. It looked like it's obviously volatile at the moment. What's very, very clear of the last 24 hours, to me at least, is we are back to expect crazy headlines from Trump, which then, when you read, are not so crazy. Like there was like a bombastic thing about the meme coin even yesterday. It was like, he doesn't even know he owns a meme coin. And then you watch the interview and I got a very, very different impression about what was said. So like and the market is trading on this stuff as well. Like it's going up, down, crazy on whatever he says. So I think there'll be more of that for the next 4 years. Probably don't react to the first message. Maybe find out what's happened. I feel like that's going to be very much an ongoing theme. Yeah, full sentence. See, this is classic. We're going to see this a lot. But crypto reacted very well. We didn't get the Bitcoin reserve. What we did get was a crypto task force headed by Hester Peirce, who is kind of the one dissenting voice of the SEC during Gary Gensler's time. So that's very, very positive. And she's been pushing for this. I actually think this is good. Like, the biggest beneficiary for this, I felt like, was things like DeFi. And there's been a lot of comments from like people in TradFi being like, we know TradFi is ready to get involved in crypto here. So and for like traditional finance as well, just to kind of really benefit from crypto. So that's where I think the crux of this regulation will be about. I don't think it's going to be about your meme coins or anything like that. I think it'll be about, right, how can TradFi get involved in crypto? Let's have defined rules for stablecoins. Let's have defined rules for different platforms, like spot platforms, like Uniswap, perp platforms, like Hyperliquid. Let's lay all that out. I think it'll probably be lighter on the actual tokens themselves. I don't think they're going to come out with like, this is a security or this is a commodity sort of stuff. I think they've largely going to avoid that battle and say that the CFTC is going to be regulating them like they're all commodities, apart from like obvious maybe securities. But even then, I don't think that's going to be the crux of this. I think this is just to lay out at least the light guidelines that you've already seen in places like Europe and the UK about mainly the exchanges, the DEX style exchanges too, the platforms, and some sort of way for TradFi to allow their involvement in this space. So I thought that was very bullish, but very expected at the same time. Mm-hmm. And Hester Peirce is 100% the right person to do this. She really put herself in a great position, I think, with her takes over the last few years. Very much keep the innovation, don't heavy-handed. Like, she was very critical of like the SEC coming down hard on NFT projects, for example, like in their early days, and coming down very, very like ones which weren't even like rugs. Like, so I think let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, just my thoughts, just generally, this was the number one thing I thought Trump would sign in his first few days, and this was the number one thing I was hoping for, was effectively crypto task force. And this didn't actually come from Trump, but Trump appointed Mark Ayuda, who did this. So I think this is very positive. And it does. Just like you said, I don't have a whole lot to add. It paves the way for us to finally have rules of the game. And then everyone can actually build their businesses and comply, and we can move forward and not just have to worry about lawsuits. I do think a big part of what they're going to do first is go through and take a look at the existing enforcement actions and see what needs to be paused, what perhaps gets thrown out. And then they're going to build the framework. And then, it's more about that and building than it is about like looking to see like, oh, okay, who do we need to go after right now?
100%. I think the big ones there are there's several lawsuits against existing exchanges over sales of unregistered securities. That's against pretty much every exchange that operates in the US right now, has got an SEC lawsuit against it. I think all of those will go. And that won't be an admission that not everything's a commodity. It'll just be an admission that that's just not a fight that they want to fight. Mm-hmm. I think the second thing will be against the decentralized finance platforms. Uniswap is the main one there, where you've seen a very, very public lawsuit against them for not registering correctly. That one I think needs regulation. I don't think they're going to avoid that question. We do need to know what DEX platforms need to do in the US, most probably, and we do need to know what centralized exchanges platforms need to do in the US. So I think what we'll really see there is like guidance about what you actually have to do or don't have to do. And I think that's kind of what they've been asking for ages. All they've got up until now is asking for that, and the SEC's just started a lawsuit against them.
Exactly.
What I think we will now see is, right, we're going to end all the lawsuits. We're going to give you some regulation. This is what you got to do. Not make it unbelievably punitive. I think and that'll also extend probably to perp platforms. So the CFTC is clearly like leading that against perps. we'll see what happens there as well. Like obviously there's some huge perp platforms which aren't able to operate currently in the US. Pretty much every perp platform has avoided the US. So maybe that changes. Perps, I feel like maybe something that they leave until later. Like it's not like they're not desperate to get people levered trading crypto at this stage, but simple spot onboarding ramps as well, and allowing TradFi to access this sort of products, I think is where we'll see, and probably stable coins as well. Like there was some comments yesterday about what would generally be expected, they think, from a US stablecoin going forward, which is the same as what we just had in Europe, right? Is that they'd have to hold 1-for-1 US treasuries or cash. They'd have to comply with an audit. And there was some talk that Tether might not pass either of these, right? Like Tether actually is, if you go into the numbers, even their unaudited numbers, they hold a range of assets, including things like Bitcoin, although the vast majority of it is treasuries, but they own like commercial paper and a few other things. And they also haven't done like a US based external audit before. They do audit, but I think it's only by a local auditor in the Caribbean. So there were some questions about whether Tether would have to be delisted yesterday, and Brian Armstrong came out and said, yeah, we might have to delist Tether. So and we've seen that just in Europe just now. Like Tether's largely being excluded from a lot of European-based exchanges at the moment because it didn't comply with the MiCA regulation, whereas Circle, USDC, did. So I think there will be regulation that probably champions Circle here, at least in the US. Whether Tether minds about that, Tether is now setting itself up to be like, it's trying to become more compliant, but it's also, with the other hand, basically the rails of the anti-SWIFT, anti-sanctions countries. Like you've seen Russia largely move into it. So maybe Tether just says, we don't give a shit, and becomes offshore dollars, basically, for everyone else. That's probably where we're going. But Tether, we could be seeing an interesting move here. Yeah, someone said Paolo can buy Europe. Yeah, look, Tether just moved to El Salvador as their HQ. Paolo, I think a lot of them are based in Italy, including Paolo, who kind of runs it. But what other people have done generally, and you see this a lot in crypto, is a foreign exchange will buy a local operator with a license and then have like a smaller operation in that country. So in Europe, for example, what you're seeing right now, the reason why FTX Europe is up for sale right now is because it actually has one of the very few perp licenses in Europe. So somebody can come in and buy a license-based company and then set up an entity in Europe, and you'll probably see that. So like if Tether's going to operate in Europe and in the US, they'll buy some sort of local operator and have that as a subsidiary of the company. And that's very, very standard. Paolo lives in Switzerland. I thought he lived in like the bit where Switzerland meets Italy. I thought he lived in maybe Lugano, but maybe that is Switzerland. It's around the area. Probably one of the richest men in crypto. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the market seemed to like it. It's not going crazy. Like right. Bitcoin reserve seems like the reserve. I don't know if we'll hear any more crypto policy today from the US. What do you think, Tyler? Do you think we're going to get some more executive orders?
I'd be surprised probably at this point. If there's an order perhaps around setting up David Sachs as like the cryptos are, I guess I could see that coming this week. I don't know if that really requires an order or not. I mean, the only real low-hanging fruit one out there, I guess, like the repeal of SAB 121. I don't know if that's something that's like a week one thing. And then there's strategic reserve. But my gut read is the chatter on the reserve happening this week has slowed down.
Of course.
I don't think it's coming this week anymore. And I thought perhaps it would. I really did think that it was very possible just a few days ago, just from the way Saylor was talking, from the way Loomis was talking, some of the announcements that were being teased. But I feel like we would, if that was the bomb that they were going to drop for crypto, I think they would have done it at this point.
Can we bring it up on Polymarket?
Yeah. I think I've got it. Yeah. So in 2025, the odds are still 60%.
Is it have it first 100 days still?
The first 100 days, let's see. Yeah, that's down to 34%. So that's dropped about.
Wow. Okay. That's down a lot. Okay.
Yeah, it's dropped about 20%. Yeah.
Seems about right there, if I'm honest. I think if they were going to do it, they would do it straight away. Now, I don't know when that happens, if it's not going to be straight away, because it feels like quite a big policy, but maybe maybe on the back of the regulation, they decide to like have them together. Maybe they didn't think the US was ready for it, but that's something to be aware of. Like that chart had looked like the Bitcoin chart before today, and that's down 50%. So I wouldn't be surprised if like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a little bit of softening in Bitcoin. We've kind of seen that. We've seen a bit of Bitcoin dominance come down. Solana's come to the forefront. Again, Solana just looks so bullish to me here with what just happened with Trump. So that's up on the day. A little bit up on the day. But I think we'll head back towards all-time high again to 300 now, area or 290.
This move surprised me the most in the last day, I'd say. So everything was kind of cooling off, chopping a bit. Like Bitcoin's kind of ranging right now, 103 to 107. ETH is a stable coin that could fall off a cliff at any time, I guess. And then Sol, the leader, is up 7% on the day, but back up at 256. And just, I mean, it overshot to 290. Corrected, but it feels like every day the Trump token, well, Trump trade is a part of this, right? Like it just added 40 billion FDV to the Solana network, and I think there was a lot of questions on if it was going to stick around or not. Seems like we got some good news on that front. Yes, or maybe we talk about that. So you kind of went there already in your intro, Amanda, but I feel like we got to talk about it a little bit more. So Trump was speaking at the AI event yesterday, and it was largely, he had just announced this project Stargate, $500 billion going to be invested from the private sector into building AI in the United States. And then he was taking questions, and DB Tier 10K tweets Trump on his meme coin. I don't know much about it. And let's go to the chart here. So as that happens, we see Trump immediately go from 48 all the way down to 32. So it was a solid 30. It wiped out anyone who was long. So what happened right before this was important. So Coinbase officially got Trump live. Trump was at 40. It marched up to 48. So and I think people started putting longs in around 40. And then they all got wiped out on this tweet. But then if you actually watch the video, what he actually said was quite different. And I don't know if I've got the actual
He's just hilarious. Like I forgot having listened to him. Like he's a bit of a comedian, right? Even if you don't have a view, like you don't like him, he is a funny person, objectively.
Yes. It was a hilarious clip. I'm going to try to find it, but just
yeah. But my I guess my view is if you own that Trump coin, expect a lot of that. Expect a lot of that sort of stuff, where it will trade around on his headlines, and it might not be what you first thought. But if I lay out the majors right now, and I'll include XRP in that, I think that there is still a potential, if you're not going to get a Bitcoin reserve, that you will get some sort of policy on America first crypto, and I think that could easily come in the next couple of weeks. Like that seems like a lower piece of hanging fruit than the Bitcoin reserve. So I still think that presents a pretty bullish case for like Sol and XRP. ETH, there was a lot of bullishness around World Liberty Financial. In the end, they just kind of bought some ETH. I don't really know if that was like, I think people were like, they're going to say DeFi tomorrow, and they just kind of bought some ETH. Alongside a bunch of other projects, and I think there's obviously a bit of a, if you're not following, there's a bit of a power struggle going on right now in ETH. Vitalik's wearing a milady and saying, I have all the power, essentially. Some of the Ethereum core devs have kind of left. And yeah, he's basically trying to take ownership of it a bit more, trying to be a bit more aggressive around certain things. Justin Sun actually put out a piece today about ETH to 10K, which I wrote initially was good. And then all the comments were, this is AI. ChatGPT wrote this. And then I read it again. I was like, wow, this is actually 100% ChatGPT. But yeah, Ethereum's going through its like moment. And then Bitcoin, I think most people who own Bitcoin, at least short term, were hoping for some sort of Bitcoin reserve. There's no doubt in my mind. And if that chance has just dropped 30%, like I'm not saying that it's like Bitcoin to zero. I'm just saying that like Bitcoin could probably just go sideways here for a little bit, or like head back towards 100K. There's no one like, I think up until a week ago, everyone was like, oh, Bitcoin reserve, or sorry, 2 days ago. But now if that's not going to happen, if Bitcoin drops, you're kind of hoping like, oh, well, it's back to somebody's going to buy it, or like the ETF will come in and buy it, which it will. Mm-hmm. But I feel as though there's a more bullish case right here for Solana and XRP out of those four. And XRP is purely just the meme of XRP rather than actually like anything going on. So I think Solana can continue to outperform. I think Solana can like double here.
Double against Bitcoin.
I wouldn't say double against Bitcoin, but I would say that it can really outperform. It's gone through months of underperformance, and then it corrected that in 2 days. And now I don't think that it's over. You know, like where was Solana before the Trump coin was trading at 195? Or maybe slightly higher.
Yeah,
maybe like
that sounds right. Trying to get the Sol Bitcoin chart up while we talk.
Yeah, wow. Like
it's a big move,
but it's not moved that much, right? Well, basically what I'm trying to say is it's up like 20%. It's not up like 60% here. It's up like 20-30%. I think it could be up a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Just because you have the potential chance for US first crypto, let's say. You have now Trump, which I think is a bull case for Solana in of itself, and also other stuff happening on the back of that. Like, who knows? We didn't know Trump was coming last week. There could be a ton of other stuff now coming to Solana. And the fact that it was already being beaten up because of these unlocks, which we're about to see kind of the first of, and will be done in the next 60 days. And I think these are bullish unlocks. So yeah, I'm very bullish on Solana here. I continue to be. I still think it looks undervalued.
I tend to agree. We got the Trump token on Solana now, and I don't know if folks have been following this, but like Solana is just insanely liquid right now. And like this is fallout from the Trump coin and everyone coming on chain, and perhaps it starts to, roller coaster loops down a little bit in the near term. But two new tokens yesterday, like two new meme coins came out and did $150 million in volume. So like this Heart Sparkle Mermaid and then the Stargate token, just named after the name of the project. They both do over $150 million in volume. And today there's $600 million coming from Jupiter with the Jupiter airdrop. And that's going live right now. So I guess let's check in on the Jupiter price while we wait here. At 700 million tokens, looks like it's down about 4 cents or so from where it was this morning, folks. Likely, I think we're going to see a lot of sell pressure here today. I am kind of curious where Jupiter settles here, just because you just laid out the Solana bull case. You're bullish on Solana going up. I feel like Jupiter is going. In my head, like Jupiter is going to be one of the beneficiaries of a Solana run, right? Like, I was actually thinking about like, is it better not to sell the airdrop and actually hold if you think Solana is going to run here?
So, like separating what I thought about the Ray trade here, right? I'm very bullish on Solana Casino for the next couple of months. Like Solana, huge volumes going through, DEX volumes being beaten every single day, Trump potentially going up to 100 billion plus, FDV, that making Solana look ridiculous, all this sort of stuff. And then that going higher means more people come in and be like, wow, like Trump just made 50 billion on this coin, like let's do some stuff on Solana. Jupiter, weirdly, if you like zoom out here, hasn't really participated in it's been a very stable-ish coin. If you kind of look at over the last,
Oh wow,
yeah, like there's not many coins that look like that in crypto. Like it's up and down like 20-30%. It's barely really moved. It doesn't have the flywheel, Jupiter. So what it is a launchpad coin. So if you own Jupe and you stake Jupe, you get access to new airdrops, and they are often doing some pretty good airdrops through that, particularly a few months ago, but less so recently. But like they've generally had some good ones. So it's more like owning Binance Launchpad, like you own BNB because you get new Binance coins. It's similar for Jupiter in that sense, but it doesn't have the flywheel because they don't charge for spot fees, and the perp fees, 75% of them go to JLP. I was trying to find out today where the other 25% go to. They may just go to the team. I don't think they go to the Jupiter coin. Jupiter right now is a DAO token. It's a classic DeFi DAO governance coin. Maybe they need to change it so that you get a bit more flywheel. I'd love to see that for Jupe. Like, I think Jupiter volumes will go crazy. Do I think the Jupe token goes higher with it? That's more like a maybe in the future they're going to do something that creates a flywheel for me. And that the tokens largely reflected that. Like for a token which came out really this time last year, right? And Solana DeFi volumes are up insane amounts in that time frame. Okay, insane amounts, and this coin has gone sideways. That like compare that to Ray, for example, which is the flywheel coin. If you bring up Ray over the last year, does have just a flywheel going. I think you're going to see a very different sort of yearly chart.
Wow,
right?
This is what you would expect with the Solana protocol. Like for me, like not with knowing nothing else and just knowing the trajectory that Solana has been on over the last year. Like this is what I would expect. So
right, exactly. That was trading at 1, and now it's trading at 8, and that actually still feels undervalued versus how much Solana DeFi is up. And I think Solana DeFi is going to keep on going up. So what that tells me is that Jupiter isn't really got the flywheel right. There's some other coins in Solana DeFi, but none of them have got the flywheel. This is like I looked through them all. Orca, there's Camino, there's which is these are great platforms. I use Camino every day, but it doesn't have the buyback flywheel going, as largely most DeFi coins don't. Right, like DeFi got criticized for not moving like this. If they decide to do something like that, which hopefully they will this year, a bunch of them, then a lot of them could re-rate a lot higher.
And I mean, you didn't even mention that Anthem's behind Radium now, so Radium could be on the Sphere in Vegas.
So Anthem is like an OG Radium influencer. I am the #1 Radium influencer across all geographies right now, but Ansem has been calling Radium since like 2021. Like Radium is FTX old for Solana, right? It's really, really old.
Oh wow! Oh, Radium's not. Oh my land. Okay, so market cap is way all-time highs.
Price. Yeah, but the price is like it's way down. Yeah, wow. Radium like is as OG as it gets for Solana DeFi. It got criticized for some of the stuff because it was quite tied to FTX and some of their early like those like vacuous FTX style coins like Serum and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, it's very much OG. Someone else has
order
in the chat here, Order Sol. This is an interesting coin if you are going to go down the route of Solana DeFi. So Radium has now launched a perp platform. So if you go onto Radium, they have something called Radium Perps, which is the vast majority of Solana perps are done on Jupiter perps. Radium has not created its own perp platform. It's done it alongside a perp platform provider called Orderly. And this is a multi-chain perp platform provider. Orderly, they do them on Arbitrum, they do them on ETH. They're like known for that. They are seeing huge volumes go through this now, like close to, not at Jupiter, but like I think it's like roughly about maybe a quarter right now, and it's in beta. Radium currently has 0 fees on their side for this, but they could turn them on in the future. Orderly does have some fees. But Orderly does have a token too. So if you're also bullish on like Radium perps taking off, then, which I don't think is a bad idea, Orderly does have a token which kind of does have a bit of a flywheel to it, but it's not quite as good in my opinion. But yeah, you can look at that.
Very interesting. Yeah. Well, it's good to know. It's good to hear from the number one Radium influencer. I'm sure we'll be talking about it quite a bit in the days to come. So Jupiter is live, folks. We got around the horn most of the big stories. I think the other one that we haven't talked about yet is the AI market is coming back.
Huge.
Pretty damn fast.
You would assume the headline was that they're going to invest 500 billion in AI meets crypto. Like there was a story that SoftBank is going to make a $500 billion investment into the US in a partnership with OpenAI. Remember, SoftBank have tried to tie themselves to OpenAI. SoftBank is kind of known as one of the biggest tech VCs, essentially. And on the back of that, every single AI crypto coin basically like doubled. It went up like 50, 60%, which is just pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking the leaders are up 20 to 40%. And off the bottom, I think they're all up 50 to 60%. So like if you sold your AI bags to buy Trump on Sunday, you got wrecked on that rotation. Basically, like if you did it early, you won. You still are up big on the trade.
Yeah.
But if you were late to the Trump trade and then you missed the bottom, like now you're out of position. Because these have rebounded quite, like we're at new all-time high. So ARK hit a new all-time high yesterday, 630 million. AIXBT is basically at all-time high. I'd say 87 cents.
Yeah.
Right. Graphene hit a new all-time high. A non-all-time high yesterday. Tippin doubled. Hive and Orbit, 2 DeFi tokens. AI.
The DeFi meets AI was the real winners here.
Yeah.
Like all of those coins, they didn't really dip, even during the dip, right? Like, look at those coins, like Buzz, Anon went down like 10%, and then just
look at the script chart.
Right, like that subset just up only right now.
Yeah, I mean oh my god,
right? Like compare that to AI16Z as a chart, which is like the infra coins. They look very different. The DeFi meets AI coins are have been the strongest during the bear and on the bounce. And it'll be interesting to see. Like I tried to split them up today, which is kind of what I've said on the show a few times as a tweet. It felt like the utility-based coins have been the real winners here. Apart from ARK, which I think is kind of on its way because I think people think it will get listed and all this sort of stuff. But AIXBT, Graphene, and the DeFi coins all up massively. Fartcoin go up or sideways, not doing amazing. Virtuals, AIXBT, ARK, like they bounce, but like they didn't bounce as strong as the utility-based coins. Utility-based like coins are just up only right now.
These two do not surprise me. AIXBT's rebound, I will say, like I'll admit, surprised me. I was a little concerned that if and when it lost its attention, would it be able to get it back? But it clearly did. And now I think it pays to be the leaders right now, the momentum leaders. I think people are just going to be looking at what moved the most off the bottom the fastest, and I think they're just going to deploy, and they're going to close their eyes. And I think ARK is the one that they see the most, and people are just going to deploy into ARK and who don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think so too. The chart looks the best out of them all. AI XBT is interesting because you present a good point. It has lost its mind share pretty notably over the last few days. If you bring up Cookie,
yeah,
right, like that figure was like 15 to 20%, and it wasn't like Fartcoin's overtaken. I think Fartcoin was about still 7, right, even before this, and it was AXBT at like 15. So what's happened is a bunch of the other coins have kind of gained mindshare from AXBT, and that is like, if you following, that's been one of the main bull cases for AXBT. So I think you're right. You were right to be cognizant that, like, if that goes, it could be worrying. And I think it was, to be honest, it was trading like garbage, even while the other coins were trading strong yesterday, right? I was saying in the chat, it was hitting 600 million as ARK was hitting all-time high. And then it zoomed high. So
things. So like the virtuals is going to burn all their revenue to rebuy their tokens. AIXBT is going to be a beneficiary of that. So that's a bullish tailwind. I guess the pitch is still easy. I just stats just middle curved me when he came on the show on Monday and just got into my head. This is like
doesn't he?
The AIXBT takes just they're just not that good. And you just like, you're fine with it when the token's going up because you just don't care. But then like the second it loses its mind share, it's like, is this AI agent worth $900 million again? All right. So I'll stop putting AIXBT. I'm sure.
Ronnie Retail, as Ovi says, comes in and buys AIXBT because it has AI in the name. That's literally Ovi's thesis on AIXBT. Number one mindshare has AI in the name.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate that thesis at all. It's on Binance too. It's the only one on Binance Spot, so it still has the Binance bounce. Big upcoming week for AI16Z here. I think it's like this chart. Like if every rip keeps getting sold off and going lower, I think we're going to see some capitulation. But they've got V2 coming out. Eliza's still dominating. I'm still holding my tokens. I think it's becoming a more popular opinion that ARK's going to flip it.
Weirdly, think about those two projects, right? AI16Z has the most popular repo, has dominated that, but was a little bit slow or poorly executed on the partnerships bit, right? It did some partnerships at the start. They all started rugging, like it didn't do that well. And the token holders got annoyed, and like the way that they were giving it back to the token holders wasn't great either. Like the DAO got some coins and they were like rugged. So, but now they're like looking to build that marketplace. It feels like ARK is slightly further along down that path, or at least executing that slightly better, despite having a less popular repo, and is less known. It's slightly further down that path. It may flip it. It may. There's like those two charts tell you that could easily happen, and this is the classic thing that we've said since like the very early days with GOAT. Like it's very tough to underwrite AI projects, utility-based projects, or infra-based projects for too long, because something new comes up and then you get zero broed.
Oh gosh. And
I like that project.
Yeah, I like it too.
But like it's just there's just new stuff every day, and the trenches are not kind to new stuff coming out. So
it's not.
This is what it is.
You mentioned new products just quickly. Like I do not own any Mobi, so easy disclosure for me. But man, this is one of the clear newest winners from this past week. This one debuted. You could have bought it 30 to 50 million that first day. It really hasn't dipped too much. Marching to 130. So
have you used it?
I haven't. I think I was so deep in the Trump.
So good as,
yeah,
but I've tried to use a few of these and I haven't been like super impressed with any of them.
Well, in Farouk's words, that's your mistake. Is trying to use it. Is trying to use it.
But like this specific thing, which is like, I'm going to get the Copilot. I'm going to get the thing that you like, your trading tool, and the trading tool doesn't work, and it's trading close to where like Banana Bot trades, which makes like $60 million. I kind of question it. Do you know what I mean?
You can question it, or you can just close your eyes and hit the buy button. That's kind of where we're at.
Buy Moby the whale.
Yeah, I will be honest. Like when Obi came on the show on Monday and he said he still thinks the AI sector is going to go to 100 billion. It was harder for me to see the path. Like in that moment, I will admit it was harder for me to see that path. I do think this OpenAI headline, even though it's not 500 billion being poured into crypto AI, it's just being put into the private companies. And then Elon came out and flooded it and said it's actually closer to 10 billion, like whatever the number is. Like it's just more signal that AI is a clear focus. It does feel like that was probably important for this crypto AI sector. It just kind of feels like for us to go from 16 to 30. It's like to double from here. Like what needs to happen? Like new leaders need to come in and go to 3 to 4 billion, kind of like either virtuals or like ARK or Griffane comes in and does that move. Like how would you see that path?
I don't think it necessarily. I kind of get why we had this massive rally on the back of it. Although I agree that it's like slightly hollow statements in that it won't be that high. But I actually think the innovation can come from OpenAI or Google, or like, as I've said before a few times, like a lot of people in this space criticize it as basically piggybacking off what is going on in TradFi. And I see that as just like a massive benefit. Like the concept of it being a wrapper of ChatGPT, like what these firms are going to do is they are going to essentially wrap the technology that is often made in TradFi and make it into very valuable crypto products for everyone and very valuable flywheels, in the same way that like you're piggybacking off like other like open source code maybe from the broader development community, you're piggybacking off the fucking internet. Like that we are going to build tools here that we are then going to be able to leverage into crypto, and then you'll see real innovation of that bit where AI meets finance, which I don't think any of the major AI firms are going to touch. I don't think they're going to come in here and build crypto tools, or like they're going to expect our guys to basically jailbreak them or repackage them in some sort of way, which is going to be super valuable. So I think that the value will be, hey, Google's releasing these cool AI agents, and they can do all this sort of stuff. Or OpenAI is going to release their first AI agent in Q2. That will be a massively bullish headline for this space. Like this space might double on the back of something like that. So that's what I actually think it is. It's not that I necessarily think we're going to see, like, yeah, we've seen another Copilot. Like, oh yeah, great. What I think it will be is we will see actual innovation, and some of that will come from our side, in that we'll get the on-chain code right, that they can do stuff, and they're building all that out now, and some of it will come from the broader AI community.
I'm totally aligned with that. So it's a tailwind. It's not as like, I think a lot of people see it as a risk vector that, oh, okay, if Google wants to spin up a team and come in, like they're going to eat all these teams lunch like in a week, right? Like I've seen that take go around. But the argument is that they aren't going to do that, and their tech is being open sourced, and now all these teams will have access to better code bases that are going to continually to get better, month over month, and then apply that to the sector. It also makes me think, like, are the bigger teams then the ones to bet on? So like if we're going to see rapid improvement, you want the folks with the best devs who are going to be able to incorporate that and build on it and iterate on it the fastest. And I don't know. I feel like that's the pitch for AI 16Z, right? If they've got the most devs.
Yeah, like I've said this before. I don't think that Google will be able to spin up a team to do crypto better. I actually think that like we're going to do that bit best. I actually think we're going to do the bit around broader finance best, like, or at least comparable. Like, I strongly believe that a lot of the innovation around these models meeting finance will come from the crypto community, because, and the reason for that isn't just like, and I wouldn't say this about many things, but AI is built for crypto. It's built for these rails. It's actually not built that well for the Swift banking system. It's built for having a wallet, being able to do stuff autonomously by itself, reading the code to be able to do that. Like, so I think we'll see really cool stuff come from crypto meets AI, and I think it will be crypto teams that do a lot of that. But just to say, oh, because the model was made by, it's a llama model, like it's the fucking Meta open source model that's doing that. That's just like, think of it as a tool. Think of it as a tool. Right now, you're thinking of it too much like, oh, you won't be able to value capture from that. And I think that's just completely wrong.
Strong case, folks. AI is back, and the ceiling has been lifted. I said that on X yesterday, and I do believe firmly that it has. So it's going to be. Hope you didn't give up on the AI backs, but still time perhaps to get back in. With that, folks, we're on the horn. I think we covered everything really on my primary list. There's a few headlines like Kaido introduced a new project launchpad. Perhaps we can get into that. The yappers are yapping about it, and they're perhaps going to have a chance to participate in that.
I have been yapping a little bit more. Am I doing better?
Well, let's check it out. Let's see if I can pull up the board.
I am the #1 radium influencer in all geographies at the moment. So
if there's a radium specific category, you will be #1. Like that.
Okay,
much.
I'll speak to them about that.
That much is clear. Can you search? All right, I'm having CT leaderboard. Here we are. I don't know how to search. We'll pull this up.
So I'm not on page 1 then, basically, is what you're saying.
I'm not seeing you here on page 1, unfortunately. Yeah. But hey, this is the reason you get out of bed. Wow. Let me see. Where's Amanda? Okay, I've got the list now. I'm scrolling down. OV's 48th here on the day. Oh no, I'm not seeing you.
I'm so washed.
It's rigged. Rigged against Mando.
#1 radium influencer in all geographies is not even in the top 100 influencers. It's over for me.
Not great. Wait, that was on the 30-day. Let's see if we zoom in to the last week. Are you doing any better here? I don't know. Similar. Looks like it's a similar story. Well, guys, reply guy to Mando, so he can boost his yap.
How do I get my points higher? Like, how do I become a?
It's a little bit more about having conversations. So like you post something and then people will reply and then like chatting it out with them. Perhaps replying if anyone else, like if Ansem's posting about radium, talking to him about how you two can get it on the sphere by Q4.
You just come for Ansem so often. It's so funny.
Where's WIF Sphere Fund?
Did you own WIF? Have you ever owned WIF? I don't think I've ever heard you talk about it.
Yeah, it was it was one of my trades of the cycle for sure.
Oh, really? So now you're like, fuck this guy.
Well, I'm out, but it's just funny that they never did anything with the Sphere funds, right? Like if you're a holder who gave to that, like there was a time where that could have been a very impactful thing, and then they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And now it would not move the needle at all.
Yeah.
So, and it's just funny. It's funny to rag on it some. But all right, folks, we're rambling a bit. It was a good show. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully Farouk is feeling better. Until then, go make it a beautiful day. Goodbye.
Bye.